owner is engaging in human trafficking or kidnapping, as he put it, should sanctuary state AGs or the DOJ weigh in?
Well, we are still examining and interviewing the folks who have come to Illinois and listening to their stories about whether or not they willingly got on these buses, knew where they were going, were given the information appropriate, and the legal authorities in the state of Illinois, specifically our Attorney General, the General Counsel's office, and the Governor's office, the Corporation Counsel for the City of Chicago, all looking into whether or not there is criminal liability for what they've done.
Well, we heard that they signed waivers. They knew exactly where they were going. Some wanted to go to Chicago because they have family members in the surrounding states. So you're saying that some might have been kidnapped?
I'm suggesting to you that even if someone signed a piece of paper, if it was in English and they don't speak English, if it was in Spanish and they don't read or write, that's not an appropriate way to, for the governor of Texas to release himself from liability.
Governor, is there any legal action that can be taken either in federal court to sue the Texas governor to in any way, stop this action, or is there any way to stop the buses at the border?
We're absolutely looking into all of those options, but let's be clear, we are going to take care of the people who are on the buses when they arrive in Illinois. The question of what consequence comes to the governor of Texas or to the state of Texas is another question altogether, but we're working on that.
Governor, how long can the state, city, and county sustain these buses coming before federal help is going to be vital?
Well, we are seeking federal help. I think I mentioned in my remarks, and of course I have been hard at work, working not only with our congressional delegation, but directly in conversations between my staff and the White House to make sure that we get the resources that we need, whatever it is that's available. There are appropriations that have been made at the federal level for help for cities and for states. DC received some, New York received some. We're trying to access those resources and anything else that the federal government will give us, but we're working hard to make sure that we get resources so we can sustain the provision of services for these folks.
But are you at any point, or are you coming to a point where you're going to either have to go to the legislature or the city, come to the city council and ask for more money to sustain this effort?
I can't speak for the city, but I can say at least at the state level at the moment that's not the case. We have resources. We built welcoming centers. We have funds for welcoming centers and for all the provision of human services in the state. But absolutely, there is a point at which that we wouldn't have the resources to continue. And you've seen thousands and thousands arriving in New York and in D.C. And it's an enormous burden on those cities. Mayor, do you want to talk about that?
There are some federal resources available through FEMA, but ultimately, if this continues in the pattern that it is, it's not going to be enough. And obviously, we have resources that we have reprogrammed to, I think as the senator said so eloquently, to meet the moment. But if this moment continues for weeks and months, there's going to be, there has to be more. There's a finite number of resources that are available through FEMA. We intend to get every single penny that we possibly can. But I meant what I said earlier. If monies are going to the state of Texas and they're abdicating the responsibilities that they agreed to get those monies need to be reprogrammed and sent to states and cities like Chicago, like New York, like Washington, D.C. New York, to date, as of yesterday, had 11,000 people that had come to New York City. I mean, contemplate that number. And we need, DC needs more assistance. And obviously I know that there's work being done by the White House and some of the executive agencies to look to other resources. That can't happen fast enough. So we're going to continue to be in conversation with them to let them know what is happening on the ground here. I had a series of very productive conversations when I was in DC on Friday, but we're not going to take our foot off the gas to say that we need a comprehensive plan from the federal government. And again, we all know what the reality is. This is a national problem. It needs a national solution. And we, as cities and states, cannot be left to fend to ourselves.
Mayor, the mayor of Elk Grove Village said that he was sent 90 people because of the marathon coming up. Why not open up McCormick Place again?
Well,
If we do
I
11,000, say as many as
I wouldn't put those two things together. I've had very productive conversations with both the mayor of Elk Grove Village and the mayor of Burr Ridge. We agreed that we're going to communicate on a regular basis. We've made those staff connections. Nobody was sent to Elk Grove Village because of the marathon or something else. Look, the reality is we have a finite number of resources here in the city of Chicago, in the county of Cook. And so there will be a need to expand the number of communities across the state that may have to step up. And as you heard from Secretary Ho, in the first instance, the plan is going back to hotels and other spaces that have welcomed other refugees that have come to Chicago. But this has got to be something that we are in deep communication and collaboration with our partners across the region, because that's what the time demands.
Last question.
Mayor Lightfoot.
But I might add, just with 3 to 12 hours notice, 3 to 24 hours notice, that's a difficult thing to do, to communicate across the entire region in such a short period of time.
Last
Yeah.
question.
Governor Pritzker.
Does anything in the Safety Act need to be changed before January 1st, and do you want any specific changes?
Well, let's just set the record straight with everybody. The Safety Act is designed to keep murderers and domestic abusers, violent criminals in jail, and to address the problem of the current system, which allows those people, murderers, domestic abusers, and so on, to buy their way out of jail by just paying bail. So we're addressing the problem that exists today, making sure that we're also addressing the problem of a single mother who shoplifted diapers for her baby, who is put in jail and kept there for 6 months because she doesn't have a couple of $100s to pay for bail. So that's what the Safety Act is about. Are there changes, adjustments that need to be made? Of course, and there have been adjustments made, and there will continue to be. Laws are not immutable. They are not, there with no change that's ever made to them. Of course.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.